So, you want to own a photo booth. Imagine it. Golden hour at a vineyard wedding, strangers shrieking with laughter behind a velvet curtain, champagne in your hand while cash quietly rolls in. You're not the entertainment. You're the profit center everyone secretly wishes they were. That's not how it works. Most photo booth businesses are dead within 18 months. In Portland, Oregon alone, there are more than 50 photo booth companies fighting over the same Saturday nights. Stick around, because the part nobody tells you is why the cheapest business in America to start is also one of the hardest to keep. Buying in. It's almost insultingly cheap to get started. On the low end, an iPad photo booth, a tablet, a ring light, a pop-up backdrop, runs about $600 to $4,000. That's the rig most weekend warriors use. Point, tap, print, done. On the high end, a fully custom setup runs $15,000 to $25,000. A real DSLR camera, professional studio flash, a hard shell enclosure built to survive 100 load-ins a year. The range exists because of one variable: image quality. A company called Glamour Booth sells a handcrafted unit starting at $6,300, built to actually shoot photographs. Compare that to a bargain iPad kit off Amazon for under $1,000, and you're comparing two completely different businesses wearing the same name. But the sticker price is the smallest lie in this industry. Here's what the listing doesn't show you. First, insurance. Almost every venue, hotels, banquet halls, wedding barns, requires a certificate of insurance, basically proof you're covered if something breaks before they'll even let you plug in. Budget $400 to $1,000 a year for general liability coverage. Skip it, and one drunk guest tripping over your power cable can end your business in a single lawsuit. Second, software. The camera doesn't run the show anymore. The software does. The gallery, the instant sharing, the AI filters guests now expect. That's a subscription, not a one-time purchase. $30 to $100 a month forever, whether you book one event that month or 12. Third, the small stuff that quietly eats your margin. Printer ink and photo paper run $150 to $300 per event. A backup camera, because a dead battery 2 hours into someone's wedding is not a story you want to star in. Gas, tolls, a storage unit for the booth itself. None of that shows up in the $3,500 to start a business headline. All of it shows up in your bank account by month 3. So if the costs are sneaky, how does the money actually move? Layer 1, the base rental. 3 or 4 hours of booth time at a wedding or party, usually $400 to $800. This is the product everyone thinks they're buying. Layer 2, the upsell. Anything stacked on top of the base package. A custom backdrop, extra printed strips, a trading card upgrade guests take home as a keepsake. Almost pure profit since you already paid for the camera and your own time. One trading card add-on alone can push a $600 booking to $900 for almost no extra cost. Layer 3, corporate contracts. A business pays you to run a brand activation, a product launch, a conference booth, where the client isn't a bride, it's a marketing department with a budget. These run $1,000 to $2,500 a day, and they often book in bulk. Layer 4, the digital drop-off. You rent the equipment out and the client runs them themselves. No attendant, no travel time, just a flat fee for the gear. Lower price per booking, but it lets you fill 3 events in one night instead of one since you're not standing in the room the whole time.
Here's the reframe. The owner isn't really selling photos. A guest could take the same photo on their phone for free in half a second. The owner is selling permission, a reason for a room full of strangers to stand together, act ridiculous, and remember they were there. Now, here's the other side of the ledger, the costs that show up whether you book one wedding or 20. Storage for the booth and backdrops, $100 to $250 a month. Vehicle wear, since you're hauling heavy gear to a new venue nearly every weekend, $2,000 to $4,000 a year in gas, tires, and the occasional dent. Insurance renews annually whether you worked or not. Software bills monthly whether you worked or not. Marketing, search ads, wedding directory listings, another $100 to $500 a month just to stay visible on a results page crammed with 50 competitors. None of it is dramatic. All of it is relentless. Nobody puts a spreadsheet of small recurring charges in a highlight reel. Here's the part that breaks people's brains. The exact thing that makes this business so easy to start is the exact thing that makes it so hard to keep running. The barrier to entry is basically a rounding error. $2,000 and a weekend of YouTube tutorials makes you a photo booth company. That's not a flaw in the system. That is the system. Every year, hundreds of new operators show up in every mid-sized city, most treating it as a side hustle, not a livelihood. They don't need rent money from it, so they don't need to charge what it actually costs. And here's the shock fact. A professional booth with a real camera and studio lighting can cost the same to build as an iPad taped to a stand, but the iPad booth gets listed online for a third of the price because the person running it isn't counting their own labor as a real cost. It was never a fair fight. The market doesn't punish the bad photo booths. It punishes anyone who tries to charge what the good ones actually cost. Now, here's the part where we stop talking theory and start telling a story. Meet Connor. He runs Puddle's Photo Booth in Portland, Oregon, a real business, open for years, built on professional cameras and studio flash. In 2024, he sat down and wrote something close to a public complaint, not about one bad client, about his entire industry. Portland, he said, has more than 50 photo booth companies competing for the same Saturday nights. Search photo booth rental in his city and you're flooded with listings, some running identical stock photography, a few of them lifted without permission from companies that did the actual work. New entrants kept undercutting his prices, not because their equipment was better, because the money was never the point for them. It was a hobby with a Venmo attached. Connor didn't drop his prices. He couldn't, not without pricing his own labor at zero. So he did the one thing that works in a flooded market. He raised his quality, posted only real photos, and let the cut-rate competitors fight each other over clients who only cared about price. He's still booking weddings. Most of the 50 aren't. So who actually wins in a market this crowded? Not the operator standing next to the booth all night. Here's what nobody selling a start-your-own photo booth business course wants you to notice. The reliable money goes to the companies selling the shovels, not the ones swinging them. Equipment makers bundling hardware, software, and a franchise package promising zero to profitable. Coaching programs charging operators for a 14-week course on how to get booked. Software companies collecting a subscription whether that operator works one event or 20. Wedding directory sites charging thousands a year just to appear in search results. Every one of them gets paid the moment a new operator signs up, before that operator has booked a single event, and whether or not they're still in business a year later.
Let's do the actual math. Good year, 40 bookings, averaging $700 each, $28,000 in revenue. Subtract roughly $9,000 in variable costs, printing, gas, software, insurance, and you clear about $19,000, working weekends. Bad year, same booth, same skill. The local market gets crowded and you refuse to race to the bottom on price. Bookings drop to 18. Revenue falls to $12,600. Your fixed costs barely move, still close to $5,000. Profit collapses to roughly $7,600. 12 fewer bookings a year is the entire distance between a real business and a very expensive hobby. So here's the thesis, stripped to the bone. A photo booth doesn't sell photographs. Anyone with a phone can take one for free. The booth sells proof, proof you were there, that the night actually happened. The owner isn't in the photography business. The owner is in the memory business. And memories can't be undercut by a $50 competitor with an iPad and a dream.